Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Laurel Komozak, and you're listening to the Socially Awe-kward podcast.
Socially awkward. Socially awkward. Let's go.
Yo, what's happening? What's good with y'all? I'm sorry I missed last week. Last week I didn't have a voice. Last week I couldn't talk. Last week I wasn't sick. I just didn't. When the weather changes, man, my voice just goes. I don't know. It's a winter thing, I guess. Fall to winter. That season changed. My voice got whatever. I'm here. I'm back. First of all, thank y'all for showing the love in these past 5 episodes. It's been really good. Y'all have been showing love. Y'all been viewing it. Y'all been sharing it. The one with me and Cam went bonkers on YouTube, which was just fire. And this is a new podcast. Like, this is a new YouTube channel, new all that. And the fact that y'all are showing so much love already means a lot to me. And so don't stop, man. Keep subscribing. Tell your friends about it. Share. If you like it, leave a review. I love all that. Tell me what you want to listen to. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I love all that. You feel me? All of it. But today I want to talk about something. I'm just going to get right into this thing. Let's just go right into it. You feel me? I was supposed to have my wife on, but she's been like super busy. We got the boys' party this week. They're about to turn 2 on November the 25th. So it's been a crazy. We got family over. It's gonna be wild. This house is gonna be full, and we've just been nonstop, just busy. So we're gonna have to take a break at some point and just relax and do nothing. But yeah, I wanted to talk about what I've been thinking about for a while. What happens when God says no? Like, what happens when God says no? Like, we assume that God is a God that says yes all the time. We assume God is a God who answers every call, who, whatever we ask for, God gives it to us. He's like the genie in a bottle. Like, okay, God, I need this, so give it to me. And we just expect God to do that. But what happens when God says, nah, bro, I can't give that to you. Nah, bro, I can't let you have that. Nah, bro, I can't let you have her. I can't let you have him. No, don't talk to them. Like, what happens when God says no? Don't go that way. What happens when God says no? So let me give you an example. I'm going to tell this story. So when my wife and I were going through our infertility battle, I was on the fence of doing infertility treatments. I was really on the fence of doing IVF, and we've talked about it. And I'm like, nah, that's just not for us. Like, I was really the one. I told Juan, I said, God didn't tell us to do that. Like, if we were meant to have kids, I told my wife, we'll have them. I was that guy. So for some of y'all who don't know the story or know our story, we battled infertility for some years. It just didn't happen. The doctor was saying it ain't gonna happen. Like, they were saying, like, they couldn't figure it out. My wife had to do surgery to get polyps removed. There's just a lot of stuff going on down there, and they said her eggs were old, and even though she was super young, her eggs were like 36 years old, and there's a lot of different stuff going on. And it just seemed like it was practically impossible to have kids, without treatment or whatever. And so we did all these treatments, and just nothing worked. So my wife was like, let's do IVF. I think we should do that. I was like, God didn't tell me that. God did not tell me I need to do some IVF. No. I was just really battling with that. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. If the Lord is meant, if we're going to have kids, God's going to do it. Like, I believe that thoroughly. Now, what I didn't understand is that God can do it in any method, in any way that he wants to do. So we assume, because we said God's going to do it, but God can do it in any way he wants to do it. He can talk to us in any way, in any form that he wants to do it. We just have to be open to it. So we're in this process, we're talking about, and I just kind of let it go. I'm like, whatever. And so in my mind, I'm like, we need a new car. Either case, we need a new car. So we went to the dealership. I was like, yeah, I'm going to just do this trade-in. I'm already ready to go. I know my business. I know my credit. I know everything I got going on. I wouldn't be here if I knew I wouldn't be able to get anything. You feel what I'm saying? This wasn't that faith one. It was like, yo, I'm going to get a new car. It's easy, So I walk in, and, I told him what car I wanted. We test drove it, did whatever we needed to do. the price looked right. We was in there. So he was like, all right, let's get some crunch numbers, whatever, check your credit, whatever, all that. So he check my credit. I was like, all right, ain't nothing to worry about. I'm chilling. He comes back and he says, you've been denied. I said, excuse me? He said, you've been denied. We can't give you a car today. I said, hold on, bro. Hold on. What you mean denied, bro? What are you talking about? Well, it says your credit score is not, we can't accept it. My credit score, bro. So I pulled out my credit Experian, TransUnion, all of them. You know, so I pulled them all out. I said, bro, this is my score, bro. Like, what are you talking about? This is my score. I don't see what the issue is, man. Like, don't you see this? What are you seeing? Well, we don't see that on our end. I said, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, bro, like I've never had this issue. Like, what's going on? He said, I don't know. We just can't give you a car because, I mean, this is what's in our system. I was like, that's wild, bro. And he was so apologetic. He was more sorry for me than I was for myself. And I was just like, I'm good. I told my wife laughs because I told him, man, I said, there's money to be made. I ain't tripping about this, bro. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's cool, I guess. And I left puzzled. Like, I literally got in my car. I was like, God, I don't understand that. That's weird. Like, I'm looking at one score and they're telling me something else. And he said he's never seen anything like that before. I'm like, yo, this is real strange. I don't understand. I drove all the way home and I was like, look, I don't understand this, but these are the cards that's been dealt. I just got to deal with it. A couple weeks later, talked to my wife and we were talking, and I think it was on a Wednesday night. We were praying about IVF. And I was like, I just don't feel it, bro. Like, we're going to have to pray about this thing. So we was already praying, but I said, let's just pray. So we prayed that night. And I said, God, if it's your will, that's what you want us to do, give me confirmation. And I might have told this story before on some other platforms, but on the very next day, I used to work in higher education. I was a top recruiter at a university in California. And so I would go to events, I would host events, I would speak at events to recruit undergraduate students, students in junior college, grad students. And so I was at an event and a student walked up to me, a young lady. We were talking about school, and she said, out of nowhere, and listen, she says, I thank God for IVF. I thank God. I said, excuse me? Like, we talking about school. What are you talking about? I thank God for IVF. And I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, all right, cool. I mean, I'll indulge. Like, what do you mean? He said, well, my mom and dad couldn't have kids. They were later on in their years, and I'm actually a twin. Really, I'm a triplet. There's 3 of us. I was like, what? There's 3 of y'all? Yeah, there's 3 of us. But you know what? And she kept reiterating, I thank God for my parents trusting God to do IVF, or else I wouldn't be here today. I was like, yo, hold on, bro. I said, hold on. Like, wait, like, I didn't ask you about this. Like, you're a kid. Like, what are you talking about? I called my wife immediately as soon as she left. I was like, yo, I think I got confirmation. I think I got confirmation that I'm supposed to do IVF. I said, that's wild. The very next week, I go to another event at a whole nother university. And there's this professor who I was really cool with. But I haven't seen her some time. She walked up to me and she's pregnant. She looked at me. As soon as she walked in, she said, Lorelco, IVF. I said, excuse me? She said, I'll tell you about it later. IVF. She's pointing at her belly. IVF. I'll tell you about it later. I was like, yo, this is wild. Like, what? I'm texting my wife, like, yo, like, this professor's telling me, like, she did IVF, like, out of nowhere. Like, I'm confused. We talked about it afterwards. She said she went through the first round, it didn't work. And it worked the second round, and the baby is like almost here, and she spent like $80,000 on this thing, because she was really, really wanted to have kids, and she was willing to do whatever. I was just like, yo, this is crazy, though. It's like if God ain't talking, I don't know who is, but this is some crazy stuff. But most times when I ask God for confirmation, He gives it to me. And He gives it to me blatantly. It may be different for you, but for me, when I ask God, Lord, I'm for real about this. I really need to hear from you, and I need confirmation. Like, God gives it to me in my face. He doesn't, for me, like, He knows that I need to see it. I need to hear from other people, or I need to hear from something. I need to see a sign. He knows that for me. And so for me, that's how he talks. He's like, yo, through other people, some crazy random people I ain't talked to in years will tell me. When I was getting ready to move to California, one of my guys I ain't talked to about it randomly said, hey, bro, I think we need to go to California. Now he was talking about himself. I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I just prayed about this last night. And you talking about texting me out of nowhere about moving to Cali? Yeah, so either case, this is how God works for me, right? So I talked to my wife. I said, I think we're gonna do it. Maybe about a week later. We don't wait. When God tells us something, and we know it's God, we don't wait. It might have been the next day. I think it was the next couple of days or whatever. Wifey said, well, let's go to the bank. I said, go to the bank? Yeah, to get a loan for the IVF. I was like, hold on, bro. Like, I just got denied for a car like a couple of weeks ago. What makes you think they're going to approve me at a bank? They told me the score was something. I mean, I know what my score is, but they told me otherwise. Like, I'm not going to walk in the bank and say, hey, I need a loan for, all this money, to do that. It didn't make sense to me. I already got denied. God said no to the brand new car that I wanted. Listen, y'all, I walked up in there. I was like, look, ain't nothing changed either. It's like my stuff was paid off. I didn't have no extra debt or nothing like that. So I'm just like, ain't nothing really changed. I walked in the bank. I was like, yeah, I'm here to get a loan. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, my wife dragging me here to get me embarrassed again. That's what it meant. But deep down inside, I'm like, you know what? If my wife told me to come through here, I trust it. You know what I'm saying? Because my wife believes in God. She hears from God too. And I think that's a misconception that God only talks to men in relationships. God only talks to husbands. That's not true. God can talk and will talk through your wife, through your spouse. She is an intricate part of your journey together. For those who are married, do not discount what your wife is saying, because what she says oftentimes is from the Lord and is trying to help push you to another place, push you to another level in faith. And that's what my wife was there for, to help meet a need for me to reach a level of faith so that I can trust God and I can believe in what I needed. That's crazy, because I feel that a lot of times we think that God can only speak to the man. And a lot of times it happens, but God doesn't only speak to the man of the house. God also speaks to the woman of the house too. So either case, God uses my wife to push me to a place where I felt uncomfortable. I felt that the denial was it. That was my rejection. That was it for me. But God says, no, that's not it. So I go to the bank. I said, I'm here to get a loan. And she's like, all right, cool. Let's do the paperwork. And immediately I got approved. I mean, in an instant. She's like, oh yeah, you're approved. You want more? I said, what do you mean, do I want more? Do you want more? I mean, my God, you're great. I said, wait a minute, what's my credit? Hold on. Like, she's like, oh, it's wonderful. You have great credit. I was like, hold on. You telling me I got great credit? The dealership on the other end was telling me, no, like flat out, I can't give you nothing. You got to get out of here. Basically kick me out the dealership. You know what I'm saying? And you're telling me my credit is great? I said, well, I know it was great when I walked in a couple of weeks ago. It ain't nothing changed. Y'all, ain't nothing changed. That's when God showed me at that moment that God won't always give you what you want, but he'll give you what you need. A lot of times he'll tell you no to what you want so that you can have a yes to what you need. It's so important that we don't refuse God's no and turn our back on him to blame him because we feel rejected off of the no. It's important that we don't refuse God's no. We accept it so that we can accept his yes. Because at the end of a no is always a yes from God. At the end of a no is always a yes from God. Because what we think is a no, what we think is a denial, is God saying, I'm preserving you, or I'm saving you from something you don't need, or I'm protecting you so that you can receive what's really needed for you. And too often we blame God for what we don't have. And we say, God, I was supposed to be in that. Why did you deny me that? Why did you push me away from that? And we don't see the yes on the other end. God's no is oftentimes his yes for your life, because he's saying no to your will and he's saying yes to his. We miss that. Like when God says no, it's no to us, but yes to his will for our lives. because he's the orchestrator of our life. He's the one that moves and maneuvers things so that we can receive a promise, so that we can receive what's best for us. He's the only one that knows what's best for us. So why would I be upset at his no when he has a yes on the other end? Why would I be upset and blame God for what I don't have or what didn't happen when God says, wait a minute, there's a yes in the kingdom? We have to understand that we have to change our perception on when God says no. And how do we do that? We have faith in the fact of his no just means a yes to something else. That means that no just wasn't for me. Imagine if I had take the car, right? That would have hit my credit. Credit probably would have dropped a little bit. Probably, would have stopped me from getting all the money that I received, to do IVF. It may have hindered that process. Or I might have said, I don't even need IVF. We good. Yeah, we good. I got my new car. We straight. That's a me thing. I got what I wanted. But God says, I got what you need, though. I know what you want. And that's cute that you want a car. That's cute that you want this and you want this relationship. It's cute that you want that man. That's cute. But I got what you need. Because what you want oftentimes won't lead you to destiny. It won't lead you to your place of purpose. A lot of times what we want is going to lead us to fantasy. It's going to lead us to regret. It's going to lead us to blaming, and it's going to lead us to rejection. But God's yes will lead to his promise for our lives. What happens when God says no? What are you going to do when God says no? What are you going to say? How are you going to believe? Because oftentimes when God says no, we lose faith. We hinder the process of us receiving the promise because of our lack of faith. We lose faith in God because of his no. And that's a us issue. That's a me issue. If I can't handle God's no, then I can't handle his yes. If I can't handle God saying no to me, then I can't handle the promise, that how heavy the promise is for my life. If I reject God's no and say, that's forget it, screw you, forget that. I'm going to do my own thing. Forget it. I'm gonna pave my own way. It's kind of like Abraham and Sarah. God already promised him a child, but Sarah wanted to do her own way. She wanted to do it her way, right? She said, you know what, Abraham, go ahead, go on and sleep with old girl, sleep with Hagar. You know what I'm saying? Sleep with my maidservant and give me a child through her. Out of God's will. It caused turmoil. It caused friction. It caused headache, stress. Sarah's stressed out because she pregnant. She walking around. Can you imagine? She walking around the house. Oh, my belly. Oh, the contractions. Oh, my belly. Oh, this baby sure is moving. Oh, and Sarah looking at her like, bro, if you don't get out this house, Sarah mad because she went outside of God's promise. She went outside of God's will. When we go outside of God's will, we create friction in our life. It's like two forces coming together, rubbing against each other. It's like good and bad, just rubbing against each other, causing friction. And when there's friction, there's a force that says it won't work. There's a force that says it just won't go anywhere. There's friction. It's not smooth. And a lot of times we go through life with a lot of friction because of our refusal to accept God's no and to accept his yes. So what happens when God says no? Like even in relationships, I feel like relationships is a big thing because we are thirsty for companionship and we're thirsty for connection. And for those who are single, I mean, it only makes sense for us to be with somebody, right? It just makes sense for us to be connected to somebody. But what happens when we find someone? We find that person we think is the right one. It just makes sense. But in the back of your mind, you hear God saying, that ain't it. That's not the one. God says, no, break up. I mean, that happened for me. Before I met one, I was like in relationships like, oh, I think this got to be the one, right? God's like, nah. And I try my hardest to make it work. And it's that friction, confusion, tears, anger. All this stuff started happening. Like, man, it's just no, it don't seem right. This don't seem right. Because I'm going outside of God's will, knowing he said no. I'm being disobedient and I have to face the consequence of my disobedience. So in relationships, a lot of times we We can't accept the no because we want it so bad. We're desperate for what we want. That means we're in the way of what God wants for our lives. We're in the way. God can't give us what we need because we're so fixated on what we want. We're so desperate for what we want. God, you know I've been single for this long. You know I've been struggling with friends for this long. And now that I finally got them, now that I finally have somebody to talk to, I know it ain't always peaches and cream. I know we argue all the time. I know he be abusive. I know she be verbally abusive. I know all this. I get it. I know they don't really love me, but at least I got somebody. At least I got somebody. And God said, break up. No, it's not the one. Or what if it's all peaches and cream? This is wonderful. This is great. It's the first 3 months. This is fire. God said, no, don't waste your time. Don't waste years on that man. Don't waste years on that woman. Don't you do that. It's going to take some years off you. Don't do it. Don't waste time. No. I said no. And we don't pay attention to the signs of when God says no. And then we get stuck in something. We get stuck in a dream. We get stuck in a fantasy because we want something so bad. We're so desperate for something. We create our own idea of what it is. We create our own fantasy of what it should be. And reality is it's not that. And so we ended up living in dysfunction, not knowing that we're in a dysfunctional relationship until we get out of it. Until God says enough is enough. Now I gotta kick you out. You've been through too much. Now I gotta force you out. And until we get out of that bubble, until we get out of dysfunction, then we can actually see, dang, I was really in that. Dang, it was 7 years of my life I was in that. 4 years, I didn't see that because we wanted something so bad. We wanted to be connected so bad. We rejected God's no because we wanted our own yes in our life. We have to understand the severity of refusing God. Because at the end of the day, God is a jealous God. God said, look, he's like, listen, if you put somebody else or something else before me, that means you turn that thing into an idol. You turn that thing into something that's above me. And God says, I can't have that. There's the commandment that says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. If I say no, listen, no. Even if you really want it. Yeah, I know you want companionship. I know you want connection. I know that person may seem like a good person for you, but that ain't the right person for you. I know those friends, like they your ride or die. They've been there with you, but they're leading you down the wrong path. Cut it off with them. Cut it loose. And it's hard for us to cut something loose when we want it so bad. It's hard for us to cut something loose that we have invested time, we have invested energy, we have invested resources to try to make a relationship work, for God to tell me no to that. And I feel like, just to be practical, like Married at First Sight, like this reunion tour has been, part one is wild. It's wild to me. Like if y'all have been watching Married at First Sight, like it's really, I'm really disheartened. Like I'm upset about a lot of things. But more importantly, like more specifically rather, Merla and Gil. Like I feel like Gil knew that there was a no there. I feel like deep down inside he knew that it wasn't going to work. But because of the environment, because of the system, because of the experiment, and because he wanted love so much, he wanted love so bad, he wanted that sense, he wanted that connection, he wanted, you know what I'm saying, that companionship. He wanted it so bad. When she rejects him and says, I don't want to be with you, he can't stomach it. He doesn't understand it. Even though he knew there was a no there a long time ago. There was a sign of no a long time ago. You knew that wasn't going to work a long time ago. You knew her, who she was. You knew how she was a long time ago. But because you wanted it so bad, it's eating you up on the inside. It's hard for you to move forward. It's hard for you to move past this. Because you refuse to accept that, hey, this is just a no right there, my guy. But it's not a rejection towards you. You just have to see it in a different way. Yes, it's a no to that, but it's a yes on the other end. Understand that even though something didn't work out, even though maybe God told you to cut it loose, or maybe God says, you know what, since you weren't going to cut it loose, I'm going to allow this person to cut it loose for you. and it breaks our heart. God says, I'm not breaking your heart just to break it. I'm not hurting you. I'm not doing that to you. What I'm trying to do is give you something better. I'm trying to lift you up into a place that you don't have to hurt, that you're going to feel some pain. Yes, but you don't have to feel that type of pain. You don't have to feel that type of rejection and abandonment. The yes that I have for you won't do that to you. So I had to break you from that so that I can grow you into something beautiful. I had to break you from that so that I can build you into something beautiful. And so we have to understand the signs of when God says no. There's a consequence to us denying his will for our lives because we want our own thing. And trust me, like we are in this world where like we want what we want, you know, and because everything is so accessible to us, we get what we want. And because, you know, I want to see what's happening, I can go on my phone and get it. You know, like there used to be a time where you can buy likes because I ain't getting enough likes, you know, so let me buy some. Let me buy some followers. Let me, you know, because I want it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be famous, so I'm going to do all that I can to be seen. Because we want it. And we have to understand that just because we want something and yes, and maybe our wants are valid. And I think that's the key part is like, that's probably why it hurts so bad when God says no. It's probably why, because our wants are valid, right? It's just misplaced. Our wants are valid. They're just misplaced. Yeah, you want connection, but what type of connection do you want? Yes, you want a relationship, but do you want healthy or you want dysfunctional? Yeah, I want companionship, but do you want abuse or do you want love? We have to be sure of what we ask God for. Our wants are valid, but we have to, sometimes they're just misplaced or sometimes they're just not named correctly. We got to be more specific with what we want. That way we understand the no. When God told me no to the new car, he wasn't saying no to Lorelco. He was saying no to that dream. I got another dream for you. He was saying no to that expectation. I have something else for you to expect. He wasn't saying no to me. He was saying no to it. Because he had something else on the other side. I got Kay and Kyle running around the house right now. My two boys are running around the house because I accepted his yes. I didn't go outside. I didn't go to another dealership. I ain't try to keep going out here. I said, okay, God, I accept that. I was mad now because I did need a new car. I was upset because God said, God, you know I need, again, my want was valid. It was just misplaced because what I wanted wasn't God's desire for my life. Yeah, so what happens when God says no? We gotta have faith. We have to trust his will. We have to trust his ways. We have to see the signs before we get knee deep into something. And even if we are knee deep, you know, we just have to listen to God, man. We have to really trust what he's saying to us in every direction that we're going. We have to trust him. We have to surrender our own will, our own mind to God. Surrender our life to Christ because he's the only one that can orchestrate every move that we can make. That will be promising for us. Because if we get in the way, we mess things up. Because we're imperfect beings and we move by impulse, we're going to mess it up. We're going to get in the way of what God wants to do for us. So why not get out of the way so God can do it for us? Why not get out of the way so that God can perfect us? Why not move out of the way so that God can build us up, build our character, make us strong, make us wise, so that we can retrieve what he desires for our life. So yes, what happens when God says no? Part 1. Yeah. I hope this was good for you guys. I hope this was really good for you. Yeah, man. That's all I got for right now. I'm gonna do a part 2. I'm also gonna do one that says what happens when God says wait. Because that's a big one too. But I hope you got something out of it. For sure. If you like it, man, listen, if you all like this, like it, subscribe, leave a review, comment, let me know so that I can continue because it helps me. Even if you don't like, tell me, hey, bro, like you were saying something was off. I didn't agree. Cool. Tell me you don't agree. I don't care. Like, I just love healthy dialogue. You feel me? That's I love healthy dialogue, and I love that people can express their opinions in their way, and I love it. And I welcome it. So, yeah, man, I'm glad that you were here on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep rocking up until 2022 is almost here. I hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, until next time, peace.
Socially awkward. Socially awkward. Let's go.